So, this is day 4 of 10-day course, and after focusing on breathing, meditation, anapana, getting into Vipassana, when I was talking about the sensation, focusing on inner body sensation and scanning the body, and finding the blocked areas, and develop the awareness of subtle sensation wherever you check any part of your body, outside or inside the skin or into the bone and stuff. Just go through it. When you don't see anything responding, or you don't know what's going on where you are, that means you have a blockage somewhere in that area. But that's part of the system of how we do it, to identify those areas and stay 1 or 2 minutes and then move on to the next area, and all the way from the tip of your head all the way, top of your head to the tip of your toe, across, and going up and down. And you may find it's interesting, or it's odd, or you don't know why. If I were to capture the essence of it, it is just to relate to what's going on inside of you, because the mind occupied external issues and on its own to search for the solution and get busy. What's left behind is the body, and as I mentioned, mind and body is connected, but we don't see that. When we don't see that, mind is busy, upset, stomach hurting, but you keep going. Mind is busy and upset, blood goes up, and you get red or orange. And it may not be good for your brain health, like a stroke can happen. So you can say this is a health reason, the health being the nature's way that was used to implemented or worked from the way of nature to put us on this earth and to live. So that's a magical power that we have. That's what I call it, the miraculous power. And not to know that is, in my view, very sad. It's like not knowing where you came from, your home. But when you open up the channel from the mind to the heart and body, all the nerve system and the relationships start to become very clear. And that's just awakening. To open up a new eye or third eye, whatever the way you want to explain, to look at the world outside and inside in the different eyes. And for that, we are doing this practice. So when we may not have any feeling, just maintain equanimity, being quiet, accept it, and move on, and then come back. Maybe the shape and the depth of that blockage or the unknown area, possibly blocking the connection of the cells. So that's why you cannot relate to, or the mind cannot relate to that. So you want to have the whole of who you are. The idea is Zenkigen, the total expression of all the being, the talent, to be employed or worked on to live life. So the wound would cure on its own. Stomach is hurting can be cured if you're not just too much occupied in the mind, but notice, this is some area that I don't see. And not making any judgment, just accept it and move on. So the technique of how you do it will be done in reality for 10-day course in a gradual manner. So this point I may have mentioned, what I'm sharing here is just an idea. The reality is the reality of you do it, and possibly there's an assistant teacher to help you if that's what you want to do, if there's some issues that you find. But this is like an introduction of the introduction, just to get the feel of it, what it is and what could be, with my experience and my evaluation, analysis of what's going on. Anyway, when things start to happen, you get the sense of flow, connection. It may be represented by tingling or vibrating sensation. Of course, it's silent. Or sometimes I may have mentioned that my heart may pump a little stronger. Or you think it's odd thing happen, but it's nature's way. It's doing what is to be done. Maybe the heart is pumping harder, if I can expect, that some area needs some oxygen or the blood flow, and it's the nature's way. But if the mind is occupied, that event doesn't happen. But if the mind is not occupied, nature has a way of resolving the problem on its own, healing power. So you employ the brain power and the healing and the nature's power combined together in some way, so that you can be an integrated being instead of just captured in the mind or captured in the ego, thinking that's the center of it, but not see all the ramification of what is happening. So actually there's a little note I said, there's a hakuin in Zen monk in Japan, and they call it the nanso, is the technique. And what I found it interesting is that I went through Vipassana and I'm familiar with Hakuin and what he did. And his nanso technique is similar to this process of scanning. And if you are into Zen, you may know it, but many people may not know it. It's just one of the documents that the Hakuin has left, and I got from one of the Zen monks in Kobe. And what it says is that in that technique, you are expecting as if there's a butter on top of their head, and pointing that you imagine the butter is sitting on top of your head and flowing down from the head like a liquid going down. When I read that, this is how it came to Japan. I don't know if the people in Vipassana knows about this, or about this thing, or the Zen people, if they know about the Vipassana technique, but it's interesting, 1,000 years later or whatever, it pops up in Myanmar or in Japan, and they still have something connected to the root. So that's also a point that the root, if we know it, would help to get the sense of why we do what we are doing, not just the surface level of understanding. Now, the memorable event, I say here that I had a headache. When I started, that's right, I remember that. When I started focusing my attention at the crown of my head, and I get so intense into it, and then, I don't know what it says, that I felt a strong pulsation, that's right, and the image of something like a worm moving there, pulsating with a heartbeat. So you may get scared. I was scared. What's going on? I'm doing the surgery on my own in my head. So I say here, in my image, I could see this from inside the darkness of the skull, because your eyes are closed and you can feel it. Because that's where you start this Vipassana. This is the first time, I think, fourth day in the afternoon. So by that time, my mind is very sharp, or my awareness is very sharp, that I can see things, feel it. And for that reason, the response from the tip of the top of your head was this pulsation and warm moving around kind of thing. But I kept my attention to this, even though the pain was almost unbearable. Wow, I remember that. So it's the power of concentration of awareness. If you're trained with breathing anapana and so little breathing in and out and feel the difference, you're just developing a skill to see what's going on there in that tiny space. So when we start that skill played on this Vipassana at the top of your head, I was feeling it. I don't know if I can make that happen again. You can even try. No, it's not easy, but at the time, this is the fourth day in the afternoon, I was fully into it. So anyway, with deep trust and confidence that I had with the technique, and that there was no bad cases reported as I researched, and I continued to focus on this painful sensation, thinking that it must be a part of the natural process, healing process. Yeah, that sounds like a good analysis. So as I moved attention to other areas following the direction, I noticed another big pain this time. It was my back area. Oh, I could see a white light there in my eyes image, indicating the areas of pain. I thought that this pain might be related to the pinched nerve system when I cut tree branches, as mentioned before. So, as I found out later, it was unnecessary to look inside the body to investigate the gross sensation as I did at this time of the exercise. We can call it the visualization exercise, but it's the sensation that you are detecting. So after this 1.5 hour period, I'm reading this more extensive one, not the summarized one by the Gemini, because this is more accurate. So this took 1.5 hours of period. It was amazing. Just following the direction. By the way, what happens is that Goenka is the one who already passed away, but maybe he passed away 15 years ago, I don't remember. But at the time, he had all the videos developed for the 10-day course. So as much as he cannot go everywhere, every place that they do this Vipassana center, they call it, have the video. And there are a few versions of video. So I got one version, but they are kind of similar. Over time, I can see some differences, but essentially the same. And the jokes that he talked about, it's pretty much the same. So that's how this is done. So instruction is a video, and you're closing your eyes. You hear from the speaker what is to do. First, top of the head, this, that, and all the detailed instruction, and you just follow. We are discovering who we are inside of us, directly experiencing, and see what is happening. So after that 1.5 hours, I was totally exhausted, but as much as I was stunned by the severe pains I experienced. So I have to, I remember this. I have to go to my dorm room to rest on my bed before 5 p.m. tea time. Although I never expect to go through such a painful and exhaustive process, looking back, however, this was written like right after the course, it may have been caused by a combination of factors, such as one, I was focusing not the surface, but inside. I was just exploring everywhere, whereas many people may be just playing on the surface. I was in and out, surface and the deep. And the second point, my pinched back nerve was already hurting before I started to do this. And then third, it's just represented the blocked area, which requires attention to take care of. So only later I realized that I can revisit the area and keep working on it repeatedly. And instead of trying to work out in one area deeper and longer time, so you just deal with the situation as it manifests the symptom, but keep maintaining the speed, and just if there's some blockage or unknown issue, you may just check around, and that's the way it is to be done. Let me check how much time I've spent. Okay, I have 5 minutes to go. So next one is at day 5. The technique is scanning the body, as mentioned, head to toe, and vice versa, focusing on blockages for 1 or 2 minutes. Commencement of strong determination sitting. What it means is that we have those maybe 6 or 7 blocks of meditation, each like 1 hour and a half or 1 hour, I don't remember now, but it's a combination of those block and rest and block and meal and block. And so one of the two, I think 2 blocks in a day, we start to have this, what's the name of that one? Strong determination sitting. I remember the specific word. For sitting 1 hour without movement, meaning you are determined to not move. So we started to do that. But the practice, theory, ideas are the same. So we keep continuing, just like when we are doing this breathing, anapana exercise, we just get more deeper and deeper and deeper. It's very simple if you look at it. There's no complexity, and then an explanation is there. So you feel comfortable. And by the way, in the evening before you go to sleep, there's such a session that Goenka would come and talk again on the video. And he knows how people respond. So it was wonderful. I remember that. The point is that I was, and everybody is so engaged in it. So at the evening session, when he talks about relating to what we may be going through with the jokes, and we get to laugh. And we confirm why we are here, what we are doing, and how to deal with it, and sit a little bit, and then go to bed, and start again. So that's the sequence of what it is. So let me just continue from this point in the next video. But I'm almost going to the half of the 10-day course. And by this time, I was, determined. So it wasn't easy, but we can do it. Actually, when we sign up, there's a sheet that you promise that once you start, you don't quit. I know some people may have quit for some reason, and there's a statement and assurance that you don't have any psychological difficulties which you may take by pills and take care of it. So those people are not to be here. So I think the setting is such that people have to be motivated. Maybe I can talk some more later, but people have a reason to go there. So they are committed. beautiful experience. To be continued. Thank you.